Hello and welcome to Monkey's Paper Palooza Craft Corner. Today we are going to do a quick review and demo of the Chandler Tools Embossing Heat Gun. It is a new heating gun that I got just recently after my beloved Marvy decided to die. I had my Marvy heat gun for years and I loved it. It was a great gun and it worked fantastic. But after 6 years of using it, it died on me. So it was then having to do a lot of research and try to find out what gun I could replace this gun with. Because yes, I could find this one, but I was like, let's see what else has come out since I've bought my last one. I do a lot of mixed media work, as you see on my video a lot, and I needed a gun that was versatile for both embossing paper, embossing powders, and drying paint. Ranger had a great gun that is just used for mostly paint, though you can do your heat embossing with it. It's a low heat, so it takes longer. But I wanted to be able to do both because when I did use my Marvy heat gun on paint, I sometimes had a burning smell, or I would burn my paper, or things would bubble with it was enamel paint. So I was kind of looking for something I could do both with. So when I was doing my research, I found this one. This is by Chandler Tool. It is their heat embossing gun. It has two settings, which is nice. It is, of course, the same size as the Marvy. It has a lot of the same features, but it has a low setting and a high setting. Now, my Marvy only had one setting. It was on and off. That was all I had, and it was great because got hot and it stayed hot. But I did like the idea of having the low as well as the high. So that way I could do both my paints on the low, and then I could do my embossing powders and stuff that needed higher heat on the high heat. So I was very happy to find this. Now I did find there was another brand too that made them. Wow makes one that has a dual setting too, as well as this. And they do have this Chandler tool in, I believe, two colors, a blue and a pink. So if you're not a fan of the pink, there is that option. There was a lot of reviews that said that their clear cup on here melted. And what it's there for is to protect you from the metal element that will possibly burn your hand or melt anything around you. Now, my Marvy had one too, and it's same setup basically. Though I do see this little lip is a little thicker. So I do wonder if later on that's what's going to melt. But I had my cap on my Marvy for 6 years and I never had it melt or do anything. So we'll have to see on this one. There is a way to take them off. You take off the screw and you can just untwist them off if you want to take them off. But it's a great protection tool to keep yourself safe as well as anything that you may lay your tool next to. Because if you have a curtain or anything nearby, you might catch it on fire. So it is a safety issue. So I would recommend leaving it on unless you have something adverse happening. Another thing I noticed about this one is it's not as slick as my Marvy was. It's more of a brushed plastic versus the smooth finish of this one. I did like, of course, that this had a label on it showing you how to do everything, though you could have took it off if you wanted to. I always just left it on. And of course, it has a stand like the Marvy has, which I really enjoy having that stand just in case I need it. I also can hang it off that on my hook. So far, I've used this one and I've liked it. I don't feel it's as strong as my Marvy was. I feel like the Marvy was so much stronger. So let's just show you some of the features it can do by giving you a quick demo. So I'm going to take some of my Dina Wakley mica spray, and I think this is the lapis, and I'm just going to spray it. Now, when I would do this with my Marvy, it would bubble because it was such high heat that it burnt the enamel that is in these sprays. So to have a low setting that is not as hot and not as intense as heat embossing was nice. So I'm just going to quickly heat this up So I'm going to speed this up for you because, of course, it does take a while to dry paint. And, of course, it pooled on the sides, so it's going to take even longer on the sides. But what's nice is it gives me that option to speed up the drying time if I should need it. If I'm working on a project and I need to get it done, I can't let it air dry, this is a great way to speed up my process and be able to go on to the next part of the process. So I do love having that feature, especially since I do work a lot in mixed medias. I feel that I need this because if I didn't have this, honestly, I would either bubble my paint or I would, of course, be stuck waiting. But there is that. Now, of course, the little edge where it pooled didn't dry completely yet. It's still a little wet, as you can see. But the center where it didn't pool is already dried. So, great way to dry your mica sprays and any mixed media sprays that you may have that you want to speed up. And now let's just say we all use these distress inks to do some fun distressing or to do some water speckles, moonlit skies. So I'm going to take my faded jeans and I'm just going to make a sample for you to show you how you can speed dry with that too. So I'm just going to get a good layer on here so that we have a good layer to look at. I take my mister and I mist it up a little bit. I can show you that this will indeed dry this too. So I got this on my low setting and I'm just going to go over. And it just speeds up the process that would happen naturally if I would let it dry. Of course, I can come in and dab a little bit off to help it out with my dry cloth here. There we go. But there. It's a great way to speed up the process so that you can get into the next part of it, especially if you're on a time limit and you don't have time to wait for it to dry. So great way to use it for paints. Your paint setting is awesome. So I'm going to now show you also a demo on how to use it and how well it works with embossing powders. Because I know you're saying, okay, it's great for paint. What's it going to do for embossing powders? So I'm going to take a stamp from Unity Stamp Company and I'm going to do a little demo. So I'm going to use two types of embossing powders just to show you. A glitter embossing powder, which is going to be my Recollections. I think it's my Vintage Blue. Is a fun little holographic glitter one. And I wanted to show you with both of them because two types, because one that's a smooth and one that's a glitter, because they both kind of heat differently, though they both need heat embossing. Sometimes with the glitter, it's a little more difficult to see that it's embossed completely versus some of the metallics and others that you can see it change. So let me just get this on that image. And I will add to tell you what the name is in a minute. I just have to pull out the package. I'll show you what you get with our little stamps here. All right, so I'm just going to put this on setting 2. The tip for everybody is always let your heat gun heat up a little bit beforehand because you want to give it the full heat. When it first starts up, it's going to take a little while for the heating element to heat up. I even had that with my Marvy. Now, some people say my Wagner heats up really fast. Yes, that one is like industrial strength and it heats up super fast. But if you're just doing basic heat embossing, you don't need that industrial strength. If you're doing mass embossing and you need something heavy duty, that would be perfect. Sometimes with the glitter ones, I just have to go over a second time just to make sure I got everything because they don't get as glossy as some of the other ones. But look at that beautiful embossing. I love this vintage, I think it's called Vintage Blue. It's by Recollections. It has beautiful big chunks of holographic and glitter mixed together and it's really pretty. Isn't that a pretty stamp too? Unity Stamp has some beautiful stamps. I always love them. It's great for fine detail coloring as well as watercolor. And I love their stamps. So, okay, we're going to use the same stamp, and this time I'm going to show you on the Hero Arts Metallic Gold. So I'm going to kind of anti-static this since I've touched this paper, just to make sure I have no excess, stuff stuck on there from my hands and everything. no oils in the way. And I'm going to put one more image of that on there. And then I'm going to show you how well it even works with the metallic. And of course, the metallics are nice because they show the transfer from dry powder to embossed powder. And that's one thing I do love about them on a video, because they do show that transfer really well. So I'm going to get some of this on there. This is Hero, of course, the Hero Arts Gold embossing powder. Their metallic lines are so beautiful. There's that. I'll get this out of our way. You're going to see it change once I get this heated up from the dry glitter to the really beautiful metallic. And you're going to see it start changing as we go along. Going to get a lot less powdery looking and more beautiful gold glitter to a gold glossy finish. And I love their powders for that. I always find their embossing powders for this to be satisfying because you see the change. It's so beautiful. All right, and there it is. You see that beautiful glossy gold in this image. Isn't that pretty? And there's that one in the holographic glitter called Vintage Blue. And this is the stamp that I use. It is by Unity Stamp Company. I believe it's Big Summertime Bouquet, and it's part of their itty bitty line. They give you a little sentiment usually in those, as well as the stamp, and they're very inexpensive. They're usually like $7.69 plus shipping, but they're beautiful stamps and they're great company. So here is what you can do with this. It gives you dual purposes for paints and watercolor, to mica sprays, to embossing powder. So if you have mixed media going on in your craft space, having one with dual purposes is perfect, because it takes away your limited storage space, because you don't have room for two guns. Everybody knows this. We get so many craft supplies, our offices, our craft spaces, they get cluttered. So having one that can do everything is a blessing in disguise, because if you're like me, you don't have space for two different guns. You have limited space. You want something that can do it all. And I could do it all with my Marvy, and I could do it all with the lighter one too. But the problem is it takes a lot more working with. And if you don't like the pink, like I said, there's a blue out there. And I think there's one other color, but I'm not sure. When I ordered mine from Amazon, there was blue and there was pink. I chose the pink because I kind of like the pink better. But for some people, I understand you're not fan of pink. You're going to want something different. But it's a great little tool. I mean, it's not as strong as my Marvy. I will just say that. And it's definitely not as strong as the Wagner if you're a fan of the Wagner. But if you just want a simple little embossing tool with dual functions, you can get both low and high in it. This is a great tool. I know WOW makes one that's very similar. Theirs, of course, are shipped out of England usually. So sometimes for us, that's a little bit of more expensive shipping process if you live in the US. But this is a great US company to order from if you want your heat embossing tool faster. But you can see that it did very well with the embossing. And it's very helpful with the low setting for paints. I have to say that. I love having that option for both. So if you're looking for a tool and you're in the same boat as I was, I need a new tool, this is a great option. It has all the other features of most heat tools. It just gives you that option of dual power, which is nice. So I hope this probably helped you out finding out what this tool can do and whether this tool is right for you, because depending on what you need it to do, you're going to want to do your research. If you have a Marvy, I'm going to say this one is definitely a little bit on the lighter side, but it has all the same features. It's just this is going to have two speeds. Basically, that's what this tool gives you that some of the other tools out there don't. So I hope, like I said, this will help you decide whether this is for you. I'll keep you updated on whether the cap has done anything to me, but I don't feel like it's going to. I feel it's going to be just the same as what my Marvy had, just it's going to have a little bit more shielding, and that will be about the only difference. Like, I could have took off this Marvy one too if I wanted to. Same little screw option, but I never had a problem with it, and I kind of liked having it on there for safety. To each his own. I know the Wagner usually doesn't have a cap on it. And they have the same kind of cup design, but I just feel for safety I might leave it on and see what happens. If it melts, then I'll take it off. But, the results speak for itself. It is a good tool. And I believe I only paid like $23 for it when I bought it off Amazon. It wasn't expensive. It was nice. You know, it definitely replaced what I needed. So if you like this video, please check out the last video we uploaded, as well as one specially curated just for you. And like always, we welcome you to like, subscribe, and ring for notifications, and make sure to visit our website as well as Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and soon to be WordPress pages.